Slick Grace coming to you. Yeah, we're over here at the BPH compound today, and we're hoping everybody out there is having a real excellent day off, okay? And Big Papa Hundo and good old Slick Grace over here, what we wanted to do was we wanted to share out a message, okay? So we posted this message out on the Instagram-aroo and the Facebook-aroo and all that good stuff. But, you know, sometimes it's easier if you can hear it rather than read it. So we figured we'd go ahead and read it to you right now so that y'all could get the message right from Big Papa Hundo, okay? And this is a little letter that Big Papa Hundo put out to the universe this morning. And thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Appreciate it. It's real good to see big stoners. All right. January 30th, 2026. Today, we participate in the financial protest by remaining home, spending nothing, not driving, but rather investing our time and resources back into building and strengthening our connections to our neighbors and our community. We do not ask that you choose to participate if your circumstances do not allow. So not everybody's got the ability to be able to take the day off today, and we understand that, okay? But thank you for your solidarity nonetheless, but hope most of y'all got a good day off. Anyway, we would suggest that if you make purchases or support businesses today, that you consider supporting local small businesses, especially those businesses and individuals that have been targeted by the recent violent attacks against our current administration that are against the people that are upon this land, okay? We further restate our belief that we are all temporary travelers upon this earth. The indigenous peoples have in many cases held the belief that we truly agree and support, and that is that nobody can truly own the land. No one. We are all stewards of the land and protectors of it for the future generations. Those who are indigenous people have cared for and respected the land long before the nation that we know today. And they did so in ways that were not destructive of our resources and were not disrespectful to the land. Since the formation of our current nation upon indigenous lands, we have the combined shame of the destruction of 96% of our redwood forests, destroying the lungs of the planet for the individual greed. What moral person upon this earth had the audacity to destroy these 1,000-year living giants? We have the shared shame of watching our nation attack its own unarmed citizens in the name of protecting the public. We have seen the worst of the worst, a 5-year-old child in a bunny hat placed in detention with no due process, no heart, no conscience. The public scrutiny of those who abused that 5-year-old child, who was doing nothing other than getting an education, and who, in my opinion, is not the worst of the worst, has been severe. It is nothing compared to the judgment that they will ultimately face for being agents of hatred, bigotry, and employing violence against a child. Friends, the truth will set us free. We must face the inconvenient truth that this nation is an occupier. This nation is an occupier of indigenous land and has disrespected the land and its people throughout its history. We must face the inconvenient truth that racism, bigotry, and violence have become welcomed by our current leadership rather than being rooted out and expelled. It is not the people who are inside the detention centers that frighten me in any way. The worst of the worst in the detention centers is superior to anyone that had any role whatsoever in placing those people there. Our so-called leaders are routinely stating lies saying one thing and then a few days later denying that they ever even said it. The moral authority that our nation espoused from the backs of the indigenous people, the soapbox of how great we are or how great we could make things again, is firmly planted on stolen land. The hypocrisy has passed an unbearable point long ago, and the current abuses of power and authority by those who have been entrusted to protect freedom will be questioned by future historians. The question of why didn't the German people stop the genocide that their leaders and the stigma that still haunts Germany, the questions, why didn't they do anything? That question's going to remain long after the fall of fascism. It's going to be the same question that's going to be asked of we the people of these United States of America. For our inaction, our passive participation, and our ignorance of the atrocities being waged, whether those ignorances are by choice or by proxy. Those atrocities being waged against the residents upon this land, our inaction will be judged. Thank you to those who are taking action, by the way. If you don't like it, leave is not a reasonable solution. Those who have the resources to do so will leave behind those who do not, leaving them to sink along with the ship. On that ship, there are no lifeboats for those who do not have the resources to flee. We have gone from a place where the oppressed sought refuge to where we were assured the blessings of liberty to a place that so many people are looking to flee from rather than flock to. Our role as a moral authority and peacekeeping nation has ended through the actions of our so-called leadership against our people and against our values on this land that we all, indigenous or otherwise, are currently occupying in these United States of America. But no matter how long that occupation occurs, it's ephemeral, okay? Our life is ephemeral. Everything in the natural cycle of life comes to an end, and so too shall fascism. So too shall abuses of power. While our existence is indeed ephemeral, our impact and legacy remain, casting light or shadow upon this land and its residents far beyond our temporary, ephemeral presence upon this earth. I ask, please, peacefully resist. Peacefully. And you must peacefully resist being a part of the machine that has destroyed our resources and overindulged to such an excessive point that we now have our sights and our guns pointed at other nations. Violence will reap violence. Violence is never a solution. And it reduces us to being on the same level as those that we oppose. I ask you to help send a message of solidarity and resistance to the oppressive forces. Forces that our own ephemeral presence shall see their power and influence pass. Yes, there will come a day when that power and influence is over and done. And there too will come a day when our time will pass. So, we need to put our good where it does the most, right now. And we need to stand for those who are held down and oppressed. What we are witnessing is desperation, not power. The actions that we are seeing are acts of desperation, not acts of power. Power does not need to assert itself. And the people, we, the people, do not rise up in the streets against benevolence. What we rise up in the streets against is tyranny and oppression, bigotry, hatred, and violence. It's a hot no. The economy has favored the few and created greater and greater divide between the people and the powers that belong to the people. Please, if you can, and you have the capacity to, buy nothing today. Spend no money. Use as few resources as you possibly can. Stay home. Build your community. Build your home, your family, your future. Okay? Stand with us. All right? Now, if you do choose to go out today to protest, please be peaceful. Please. Okay? We do not need any more violence. Okay? They're just waiting. They're just waiting for that. All right? Once they push hard enough that somebody pushes back, they're going to push back even harder, people. So peaceful resistance is the only way. All right? Please buy nothing today. Please stay home as an act of individual silent protest. While you may be alone and you may feel that your actions don't matter, they do matter. Okay? And let me tell you something. You're never alone. Never. Okay? Staying home as an act of individual silent protest is the strongest decentralized message that we can send. We will not fuel the fire into which we are to be thrown. We will not tolerate our friends and neighbors being profiled, detained, and made to disappear. Now listen, friends, there is hope in this darkness. There is resilience and there is love amongst the people of this land who believe, as I do, that truth and justice still matter. While our leaders have continued this modern-day witch hunt against the worst of the worst, all they can produce in results is the netting of a 5-year-old in a bunny cap. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Knowing that that 5-year-old child is still incarcerated by our federal government and kept off the streets is not giving me any sign of relief. And I'm certainly not jumping for joy about it. I don't feel safer today as a result of those actions. I feel a lot less safe today as a result of the violence, as a result of the guns in our streets against unarmed citizens. And that's why I'm sending this message out to you today. The fact that our government missed its own deadline for the full disclosure of what is truly the worst of the worst, what is honestly the worst of the worst, is not a 5-year-old in a bunny cap. The worst of the worst is the adult who abuses that child. And we happen to know that there are millions of pages of documents that are being held illegally from the American people that would tell us the truth about exactly who did what. And they darn well should be held responsible. Hot right now. Okay? Not tomorrow. There's no reason. Why do we need to redact any of it? The government has no right to be telling the people that they are protecting their own best interest by redacting these documents when the people aren't asking for that. The people are asking for truth. Okay. Pardon me. Let's continue. By the way, the contents of this are all located on our Facebook page. To a lesser degree, this little letter and message that I'm sending out to you today is available in part on our Instagram. Instagram doesn't have the capacity, at least I don't understand how to use it well enough to have the capacity to put this many words onto it. So it's part of the reason why I wanted to send this message out to you so that you could hear it. But if you'd like to read it in full, you can definitely go to our Facebook page. The link is on BigPapaHundo.com. All right, people. Here we go. There is hope in this darkness. There is resilience and love amongst the people of this land who believe that truth and justice still matter. The fact that our government has missed its own deadlines for the full disclosure of the truly worst of the worst, those who are engaged in unspeakable crimes against children on the infamous Epstein Island, have removed any authority whatsoever that our leaders had from taking any further action to enforce anything. If you cannot follow your own laws, then you have no authority to enforce any laws on anyone else. If you do not follow your own rules, you cannot selectively choose which of your rules you're going to follow or enforce today. Until those files are released and until we have the truth, there should be absolutely no more federal action on anything. Okay? Shut it down. Get it done. Get us the truth. Then we can move on. All right? We need to know what the truth is and who exactly we're dealing with here before we can stand behind any more actions of the federal government. There is no moral authority to enforce rules of government when the government has shown by example that they do not respect and follow their own rules of law. How can you enforce the law when you do not follow it? It's hypocrisy at the highest degree, at the highest level. And I say hot no. The time for passive activism, voting with your wallet and with your heart, is upon us right now, here, today. Wake up to the fact that what you see on your television happening in other parts of the country is coming soon to a nation that an armed presence with zero accountability is being deployed. It is terrifying that they are constructing more facilities in which they can house whomever they happen to arbitrarily determine is the worst of the worst. Most of us as adults are very, very likely to be a hot lot less innocent. Oh, there we are. We're back. Sorry. Hot internet issues around here. Silence and burying your head in the sand. Feeling that it is somebody else's problem only allows the oppressive forces to grow stronger. And if left unchecked and unopposed, there will be no chance of defending our friends and neighbors or ourselves when they come for us. Please send us... Sorry, the internet glitches are a hot lot. Please, if you have the capacity to join us in sending an economic protest message out today to help disrupt and help wake our friends, our neighbors, and all of the occupiers of this nation to wake up and see what is the reality of our situation. And this is done in hopes that we can turn the tide back before it sweeps us all away. Our strength comes not in the power of billionaires, but in the power of the people. Please, put your good where it does the most. I'm Big Papa Hundo. I approve this message. I love you all, and I will see you all a little later.